Imagine standing at the edge of the Mariana Trench. You're about to descend 11,000 meters into the deepest place on Earth. The pressure down there is over 1,000 times what you feel right now. It would crush a human body instantly. But life exists down there. Creatures that have never seen sunlight, that have evolved in total darkness, under unimaginable pressure, in conditions more extreme than anywhere else on our planet. In our last journey, we only scratched the surface. Today, we leave the light completely behind. We are plunging straight past the midnight zone, to 4,000 meters deep, into the pitch black. Welcome to the abyssal zone. Let's dive. At 4,000 meters, we enter the abyss, the abyssal pelagic zone. The pressure is now 400 times surface level. The temperature is barely above freezing, hovering around 2 degrees Celsius. The creatures here are truly alien. Abyssal comb jellies drift through the water, their bodies lined with rows of cilia that refract light into rainbow colors, even though there's no light to refract. They pulse through the darkness, feeding on tiny particles and smaller organisms. The grenadier fish, also called rat tails, are among the most common fish in the abyssal zone. They have large heads, tapering bodies, and long rat-like tails. They feed on the sea floor, using sensitive barbels to detect food in the sediment. Tube worms cluster around hydrothermal vents, cracks in the ocean floor where superheated water rich in minerals erupts from the Earth's crust. These worms have no mouth, no digestive system. Instead, they harbor bacteria inside their bodies that convert the vent's toxic chemicals into energy through chemosynthesis. It's life without sunlight, without photosynthesis, an entire ecosystem powered by the heat of the Earth itself. Giant isopods, relatives of the pill bugs you find in your garden, grow to the size of a football down here. They're scavengers, feeding on whatever falls from above. They can survive for years without food, their metabolism slow to a crawl. The Dumbo octopus flaps its ear-like fins to hover above the seafloor, looking almost comical, but it's perfectly adapted for this environment, feeding on worms and crustaceans it finds in the sediment. Basket stars reappear here, even larger than their Twilight Zone cousins, their arms spreading across the seafloor like a net to capture drifting food. The abyssal zone covers more than 75% of the ocean floor. It's the largest habitat on Earth, yet we've explored less than 0.01% of it. Every expedition brings new discoveries, new species, new ecosystems we never knew existed. But there's one more zone to explore, the deepest of all. In 2007, a remote-operated vehicle at a Shell oil drilling site in the Gulf of Mexico captured something on camera. It was 2,300 meters deep. The footage is grainy, it is silent, and it is arguably the most terrifying video ever recorded in the ocean. It shows a creature that looks wrong. It doesn't look like an animal. It looks like a puppet or an alien construct. This is the Magnappina, the big fin squid. Unlike other squids that have distinct tentacles, the big fin has arms that bend at a sharp 90-degree angle, like elbows. From these elbows, incredibly long, thin filaments dangle down into the darkness, trailing for meters. It hovers in the water column, motionless, letting its long, sticky arms drape below it like a living spider web. We have never captured a live adult. We have only seen them on camera, staring back at us with huge black eyes. The specimens we have filmed are estimated to be up to 8 meters long, but we have no idea how big they actually get. The horror of the big fin is its silence. It doesn't hunt like a shark. It doesn't chase. It drifts. It waits. It is a ghost in the machine. When you look at the footage, you get a distinct feeling that this creature does not belong on this planet. And yet, it is here, waiting in the dark. If the big fin is the alien, this next creature is the demon. Meet Stygiomedusa gigantea, the giant phantom jelly. It is one of the largest invertebrate predators in the world, yet it has been seen less than 120 times in over a century. It lives in the midnight zone, where sunlight never reaches, and because red light is absorbed by water at this depth, this creature, which is a deep velvet red, is completely invisible to other animals. It is a stealth bomber made of flesh. Its bell can be a meter wide, but it is the arms that are the stuff of nightmares. It doesn't have the thin, stinging tentacles of a normal jellyfish. Instead, it has 4 thick, billowing oral arms that drape down for 10 meters, over 30 feet. It looks like a floating cloak, a dementor of the deep. These arms don't sting prey, they trap it. The phantom jelly glides through the darkness, invisible. When it encounters a fish or a plankton swarm, those massive velvety arms wrap around the victim. They entangle it. They smother it. There is no escape. There is no struggle. Just a silent embrace in the dark, followed by digestion. It is rare. It is massive, and it is everywhere. Sightings have occurred in the Pacific, the Atlantic, and the Antarctic. It is a global ghost, patrolling the void unseen by human eyes. We have all heard the legend of the Kraken, the giant squid. For centuries, we thought it was a myth. Then we found it. But the giant squid has a bigger, meaner cousin. In the freezing waters of the Antarctic, there lives a monster that makes the giant squid look fragile. The Mesonychoteuthis hamiltoni, the colossal squid. It is shorter than the giant squid, but it is much, much heavier. It is built for war. The giant squid has suckers on its tentacles, lined with small teeth. The colossal squid has hooks, rotating, razor-sharp hooks that can swivel 360 degrees. Its body is a muscle. Its eyes are the size of dinner plates, the largest eyes in the animal kingdom, designed to see bioluminescence in the pitch black. This is not a scavenger. It is an ambush predator. It is the only creature on Earth that hunts the sperm whale. We have found sperm whales surfacing in the Southern Ocean, their skin shredded, covered in deep gouged scars that match the hooks of the colossal squid. Imagine the battle that takes place in the crushing darkness at 2,000 meters, a 60-ton whale versus a half-ton invertebrate armed with razors. We have never witnessed this fight. We have only seen the aftermath. We have only caught juvenile colossal squids. We have never seen a fully grown adult alive. We don't know how big they truly get, but the scars on the whales tell us they get big enough to fight back. The colossal squid is a known monster, but what about the monsters we haven't named? In 2003, Australian scientists tagged a massive, healthy 9-foot great white shark. They called her Alpha. She was the apex predator of her ecosystem. 4 months later, the tag washed up on a beach. When scientists downloaded the data, they saw something impossible. The data showed that Alpha plunged suddenly down the continental shelf to a depth of 580 meters. Then the temperature of the tag spiked. It went from 46 degrees Fahrenheit to 78 degrees Fahrenheit in seconds, and it stayed there. There is only one explanation. The temperature rise means the tag and the shark was inside a stomach. Alpha had been eaten alive. And for the temperature to remain that stable, the predator had to be huge, much bigger than a great white. The scientists estimated the predator would need at least 5 meters long and possess the speed to catch an escaping shark in the deep. Was it a massive cannibal great white? A pod of orcas? Or was it something else, something prehistoric that comes up from the abyss to feed? The super predator theory suggests that there is a tier of life above the great white that we simply haven't documented. The ocean is vast enough to hide a population of leviathans. We tracked one incident. How many others happen in the dark, leaving no data behind? We mapped the ocean with sonar. We skimmed the surface with satellites. But the creatures we talked about today,
the spider crab, the big fin, the phantom jelly, the colossal squid, we found them by accident. We stumbled upon them. If we can miss a 30-foot jellyfish for 100 years, if we can miss a predator that eats great whites for breakfast, what else is down there? What is swimming in the 95% of the ocean we haven't explored? Deep-sea gigantism is a rule of the abyss, and rules usually don't have exceptions. There are giants we haven't met yet. They are swimming in the trench right now, silent, massive, and waiting.
For centuries, sailors spoke of the Kraken, a monster so large it could drag ships to the depths. Tentacles thick as ship masts, eyes that glowed in the dark, a beak strong enough to bite through wood. For most of history, scientists dismissed these stories as myth, exaggeration, the fevered imagination of sailors who'd spent too long at sea. It wasn't myth, it was Architeuthis ducks, the giant squid. They can grow up to 43 feet long, 13 meters from the tip of the mantle to the end of the two longest feeding tentacles. That's longer than a school bus, longer than most whales. With eyes the size of dinner plates, the largest eyes in the entire animal kingdom. Some specimens have eyes nearly 30 centimeters in diameter. Basketball-sized organs designed for one purpose: to see in near total darkness. Those massive eyes can detect the faintest bioluminescent glow from hundreds of meters away. They can spot the silhouette of a sperm whale, their primary predator, descending from above, blocking out what little light filters down from the surface. And their 8 arms are lined with suckers. But these aren't the soft, flexible suckers of a common octopus. Each sucker is ringed with sharp, serrated chitin like teeth, hundreds of them per arm. When a giant squid grabs prey, those rings dig in, shredding flesh, creating wounds that never fully heal. The 2 feeding tentacles, longer than the arms, tipped with wider sucker pads, shoot out at lightning speed, striking prey from a distance. The squid can extend these tentacles to twice their resting length in a fraction of a second, faster than most fish can react. And at the center of all those arms, hidden in the mass of writhing limbs, sits a beak. Not teeth, a beak. Made of chitin, the same material as insect exoskeletons, shaped like a parrot's beak, but the size of a human fist. That beak is strong enough to slice through steel cable, strong enough to bite through bone. And it's the only hard part of the squid's entire body. Everything else is soft tissue, allowing the squid to squeeze through impossibly tight spaces, to compress its body to escape predators. For over a century, we only found them dead, washed ashore after storms, pale, damaged, often partially eaten by scavengers, or floating at the surface, dying, their bodies failing in the warm, low-pressure environment of the upper ocean. We had no idea how they lived, how they hunted, how they moved, whether they were aggressive or passive, fast or slow, solitary or social. We had specimens, we had bodies, but we had no behavior, no context, just corpses and questions. Until 2004, when a team of Japanese researchers, led by Tsunemi Kubodera, did something no one had managed before. They captured the first photographs of a living giant squid in its natural habitat, 900 meters below the surface, in the deep waters off Japan's Ogasawara Islands. They used a baited line with a camera attached, and when the squid attacked, when it wrapped its tentacles around the bait and tried to drag it away, the camera captured everything. It wasn't passive, it wasn't slow, it wasn't the sluggish, dying creature we'd seen wash the shore. It was aggressive, powerful, fast. The squid attacked the bait with shocking violence, wrapping tentacles around it, trying to tear it free. And when the squid realized it was caught, when one of its tentacles became entangled in the line, it did something that stunned the researchers. It severed its own tentacle, amputated it, left it behind, and disappeared back into the darkness. That severed tentacle, still writhing, still covered with those tooth ring suckers, was 5.5 meters long. Just one tentacle. And it fought the researchers for hours as they brought it to the surface. The suckers latching onto anything they touched, the muscles still contracting with enough force to leave bruises. If one tentacle could do that, what could the whole animal do? 3 years later in 2007, the same team captured the first video footage of a living giant squid. This time they went deeper, 1,000 meters. And this time they saw the squid in its element. It moved with grace, with precision, its tentacles flowing through the water like ribbons, its body pulsing with chromatophores, color-changing cells that created waves of red and white across its skin. And for the first time, we saw the Kraken as it truly was. Not a myth, not a monster, a predator, a survivor, an animal so perfectly adapted to the deep that it had remained hidden from us for all of human history.
But the squid isn't the strangest thing down here. In the deep, light is life, and almost every creature here makes its own. 90% of deep-sea life is bioluminescent. They use it to hunt. But some predators evolved an even deadlier advantage. The dragonfish produces red bioluminescence, invisible to most prey. In the darkness, thousands of firefly squid gather, flashing in perfect synchronization.
To communicate, to confuse, and to hide. This wasn't always the ocean's strategy. Bioluminescence evolved over 700 million years, driven by pressure, darkness, and the need to survive where nothing else could. Some creatures light their bellies to match the faint glow from above, erasing their silhouette entirely. The vampire squid takes this further. When threatened, it inverts itself, revealing glowing arm tips that create a disorienting star field. But perhaps the most beautiful display comes from the comb jelly. Rows of tiny hairs that refract light like a prism, creating a living rainbow in the abyss.
But the giant squid is just one inhabitant of the abyss, one mystery solved among thousands that remain. So tell me, what creature of the deep do you want to see next? The vampire squid? The goblin shark? Something even stranger lurking in the trenches? Drop your answer in the comments below, because if enough of you ask, we'll dive deeper. Part 2 is coming soon. And trust me, what we find down there will make the Kraken look tame. Until then, stay curious, stay brave, and remember, the abyss is always watching back.